You don't start things and not finish them. You don't quit. There's nothing that comes out of quitting besides knowing that you didn't finish. We finish everything. You start it, finish it. If you're going to do it to try to be the best. Not to be better than other people, but to be the best for you. You grind hard so you can play hard. The work you put in will pay off. It could be a year, it could be 30 years, but you keep grinding. Welcome to Big Reptile Talk.
Welcome back to the podcast, man. This is Big Reptile Talk. I'm super excited, man. We have a Titan in the building. But before we get started, of course, shout out to Venom-Proof Cages. Shout out to Ozzy Boys, my two sponsors, amazing supporters of the channel. Make sure you go check them out. Before we bring our guests in, I'm going to give kind of a backstory. You know, if you've been watching me, I tell people in every podcast that I do, you know, this guy was one of the reasons I wanted to do podcasts. I started off watching the Iron Animal Show, amazing podcast. Then I started watching Jeremy and Rob, so shout out to Reptile Talk. But then I came across the Snake Trap Sessions. And as I watched this man do his thing, I was like, man, like, this is what I want to do. So I had to get him in, man, and just kind of pick his brain, get to know him a little bit. So without further ado, Mr. MJ himself, I'm super excited, man. How you doing today, brother?
I'm doing good. Can I hit my dab real quick?
Do whatever you want. Be comfortable, man.
How you doing though? I'm so excited to be here. You have no idea.
I can't complain. Shout out to Shane, man. He said he watched you this morning at work. He loves your energy.
No, my energy's still here, man. I carry this energy throughout the whole day and night. So let's go.
Now, before we start, I want to give you a comparison, and you tell me if you agree. Now, I would compare you to a DJ Khaled. Now, go with me.
All right.
Now, I'm going to tell you why. DJ Khaled, he gets Drake. He gets, Justin Bieber, Lil Wayne. He gets the biggest in the game, and then he gives them to you. That's literally what you're doing. You have started a podcast, got the biggest in the game, and you're giving them to us. Like, so what do you think about that comparison?
I think that's key. That's super key what you just said right now. Yeah, I mean, I don't know, man. Listen, at the end of the day, it's like how we were talking before we went live. I get hyped up knowing that I could bring people to the round table that I've fucking created, and the fact that I kind of looked at these as challenges, like, man, how am I going to get this person on the show? But really, it was not as hard as I thought it was. Just reaching out to them, letting them know exactly why I want to have them on the show. So I mean, the DJ Khaled thing, I appreciate it, man. But like, honestly, like, I'm not obsessed about being number one. You know what I mean? DJ Khaled, like, his whole life is about being number one. Me, bro, I'm all about just being who I am, and just like, if that can attract more real people, then that's why I stay the way I am. Not everyone likes me. Don't get me wrong. I could be really hard to like with some people, but either you get me or you don't. But I don't switch either way. That's just how it is,
Right. Shout out to everybody in the chat. Thank you for joining us. Shout out to Wickens Wicked Reptiles. Cool. Heavy hitter in the podcast. I mean, heavy hitter in the game, man. Love that you're here with us. Now, I got to ask you, man, the origin of the snake trap. What made you say, you know what? I want to start a podcast. I want to start a show and just bring everybody in the game and just pick their brain. What made you want to start your show?
So I'm not gonna lie, man. Shout out to Joel and Adam from Unplugged. Reptiles Unplugged, right? Reptiles Unplugged. So that was the very first like reptile podcast. I was even like, oh wow, there's a reptile podcast. I had no clue. And those are my boys. And they brought me on, and God bless Adam. Like Heather was just like super like, hey, let's be kid friendly about this, because there weren't a lot of kids watching at that time. So they're like, hey, MJ, try not to cuss so much, and you cannot smoke. And to me, that kind of was like, I was like, kind of like, well, I understand that, but I was like, but wait a minute, there's adults out there, like there's people out there who don't have kids, and I'm sure they would just like some unfiltered type shit. Like they want to just hear how it is. Like don't fake the funk. Not that they were faking any funks. They were just not, they were keeping it cordial. I'm not, I mean, I'm a dirty mouth person. This is how I am all the damn time. I keep it 100. I'm half Italian, half Mexican. I'm loud. I cuss a lot, and it doesn't mean anything. That's just my personality. So it was really, I liked doing that podcast with him, but it sucked because I felt like I couldn't be myself. So that pushed me to say, what if I do a podcast called Unfiltered Reptiles Podcast? Keep now, hear me out. Now you understand, I was thinking I want to bring non-ball python people on. That's when I was like, I want to bring green tree people, emerald tree. Of course, I know a bunch of ball python people, but I want to bring all these motherfuckers who don't come on. But how am I going to do that? I don't know these people. I don't have a leeway. And that's when I met Forrest Fanning, or rest in peace, Forrest Fanning. He was like, honestly, man, that guy put me on in so many ways, bro. And I asked him, hey, would you be down to do this podcast with me? Because I wouldn't have done it. I wouldn't have launched any podcast if it wasn't for Forrest. Forrest was literally like, gave me the courage to be like, look, because dude, I don't know shit, bro. At the end of the day, I've only been doing this for 4 years, going on 5. And you have somebody like Forrest who's been doing it for, almost 20 years. And like, and his whole life is devoted to these reptiles. And I'm somebody. Am I there? Sorry, my
No, you're there. You take your time. You're good. You're good. You're coming back in.
So I didn't have all this knowledge and passion that I've carried throughout my whole life, like Forrest and a lot of these people had. So I was very comfortable doing a podcast with Forrest being a part of it, and it worked out, bro. Because Forrest was like, you set up the YouTube shit. He's like, I don't want to do any of the setting up. He's like, you set it up and I'm there. And that's all I did. I set up the logo. I created everything, StreamYard. And, it was a rough, bro. Like if you go to the Unfiltered Reptiles Podcast YouTube channel and look up the first couple of episodes, it was rough, man. It was like, we just had it all over the place, but we rode through it, man. And Unfiltered Reptiles Podcast was something with Forrest and Stephen Cush. But though, dude, they were snobby about bringing ball python people on, straight up. They didn't want to bring ball python people on. And I had a bunch of ball python homies. So I was like, I have an idea. I was like, I'm going to create my own podcast separate from Unfiltered. And I'm going to call it Trap Talk with MJ. And I'm going to bring primarily ball python people on because, dude, at the end of the day, ball pythons are what carry this fucking hobby right now. Nothing is blowing up bigger than the ball python community. And I know this for facts. So that being said, I was like, and people love to learn, bro. If it's anything, if you want a foundation, if you want to be able to build something that could feed another passion for animals, you need them ball pythons, bro. I'm dead. I'm sorry.
Thanks.
You ain't gonna, unless you loaded already. You got money's no problem. Well, then okay, then that's fuck it. Do your thing. But without ball pythons, bro, you ain't gonna go too far. Trying to dip into other shit and make it a part of your collection. That's just my advice. But
yeah, man, speaking number of facts.
Yes, that's Trap Talk with MJ. And I was, like I said, I knew so many ball python people, and with Unfiltered, I was relying on Forrest to make these connections, and these people just weren't so easy to come on the show. My ball python people were down. They're like, yo, I'm down, so I had people every week, and now, and next it was every Thursday and every Saturday, because I had a bunch of international fucking cats wanting to come on. So it's just a consistency, man. And like I was giving you props, Derek, you've not fallen off since you've come on. And I've gone back, looked at your page, which is funny. I thought I was already following you, but when I followed you, I looked and I was like, dude, this motherfucker had Tom Crutchfield on. He had Jay on. Like, bro, heavy hitters. Those are motherfuckers who I have not had on my show. So respect. Like that's some sick shit.
I appreciate that, man. And since we're here, we're talking about podcasts, man. This, we love everybody, but I've had those podcasts. And don't get me wrong. Shout out to everybody that's came on. I love everybody, but some of the ones that you do are just like super special. And after you hit that in live button, it's just like, wow, I can't believe I talked to this person. So I got to ask you, who are some of your most special ones that you're just like, I can't believe I just did that.
The one I just had with Marshall, for sure. Marshall's my favorite breeder. And like all around the board, if you could ask me who's somebody I look up to the most, it's Marshall Mendez is for sure my favorite. Like, as far as what his projects, when I look at what he has with the Ultra Mill, how far advanced he is with that, but that's just the ball pythons. Like this guy has chondros that he refuses to sell. And these are the like craziest calico chondros that are going to carry the legacy that this man's been carrying for years and years and years. So, dude, that's, man, and, and he has a 9 to 5, which I don't think I'll ever go back to 9 to 5. God forbid. I'm just not, God bless anyone who could hold a 9 to 5, but me, my mentality and all my mental state, I'm very passionate pushing what I'm doing now, but he is so devoted on keeping that 9 to 5 and doing what he does with the snakes. I don't know. He's just a really dreamy individual, man. But I could tell you right now, man, Marshall, Socrates, bro, like Socrates he's a very like private guy, right? Socrates isn't somebody who just puts, do you know who Socrates is? I'm not sure.
I do. I watch all the stuff you do. I've watched every episode, man.
Respect. So Socrates from the beginning, when I met him, he told me how he believed in me. And I was like, dude, I want to get you on the show. And he's like, no. He's like, very like, I'm so shy. I don't talk loud. And I was like, okay, give me some time. And literally it took me a year and a half or so. And I told him, I was like, I'm flying to your place and we're doing this shit fucking in person. And that was like, Barcheck was my I guess my very first in-person trap talk. Actually, no, Steven and Desiree, there was my very first in-person trap talk, but Barcheck is what started the whole remote trap talk thing where I was doing it once a month. And dude, I mean, even Barcheck, bro, I mean, like, though, I can't even tell you who my favorite is because so many guests, almost every single one, I can't say, yeah, literally, legitimately, like 90% of the guests I brought on, and this is no disrespect to the 10%, have fucking left such an imprint in my mind, and I get chills. Like, I could tell you, everyone I've had on, I want to bring back on. So what does that tell you? Like, there's no like, oh, I'm only having one fucking episode with this person. If I bring one person on, I'm bringing them on 2 times, 3 times, 4 times, 5 times. Like I could bring Will Morrows from Royal Canadian Reptiles on. I could bring him on every fucking episode if I could. Like I could talk to him every day if I could. You know what I mean? So, and there's so many people like Will that I could bring on the show and you could bring on the show and just talk about whatever, man. Like these people are on their game and they're growing. And, they always say you are who you hang around with or surround yourself with. Well, every week I surround myself with the best in the fucking industry. So that's all I know. And that's all I'm going to keep doing. That's it.
Right. It's doing these podcasts. It's really hard to actually just pick one and be like, that's my favorite one. Because it's like, if somebody was asking that same question, it's like, damn, all of them.
Yeah. I mean, this goes back to the beginning. Like, you understand, like, people have, like, Ozzy, Justin, like, they've gone on podcasts before, but it didn't, like, for me, it felt like I'm getting this person, like, given on my time for the first time. So regardless, fuck whatever they've been on, they're coming on my shit, which is for the first time. So I always looked at that because, with no disrespect to anyone who do podcasts, but I feel like my questions are not lined up like anyone else's. Like I got my own fucking line, just the way I think. My thought process is like wild. You know what I mean? So, and the way how you are able to have a conversation and leave a Derek Reptiles imprint, I do the same shit with the MJ shit. You know what I mean? Exact same thing.
I love that answer. I love it, man. Now, you have done, amazing on-site interviews on, at people's facilities. You just did one. You've done one with Barcheck at the Reptarium. Are there any other facilities that you want to visit that you haven't visited yet?
Oh man, let's just say this. I'm all booked up until August next year. So I'm traveling once a month, literally till August. And that's only because I'm chilling. I feel like, oh god damn, anything could happen. So I already have that many people. I already know I'm gonna go visit once a month. I'm December's book, January's book, like I said, all the way to August. So this is definitely a part of the podcast now. The remote thing is a regular once a month thing.
Right. I love that. Now, I got to give you a hot seat question, man. I like to have a little bit of fun.
What's good?
So I'm a movie director, and I'm making a movie, and it's going to
be
called,
for real, or is this like a scenario? Like, are you
this
really
is a scenario?
Oh, I was like, wait, what? You're a movie director? I ain't got no passes to go see some movies. What the fuck? All right. Sorry. All right, go ahead. I'm listening. You're a movie director. Go ahead.
This is a scenario. So go with me. I'm a movie director, and I'm making a movie called The Podcast Titan, and it's about the snake trap. Anybody in the world, who am I picking to play MJ?
As an actor, like a famous actor?
Anybody?
Damn. John Amos. but in his like Full House prime, like, you know what I mean? Like, I need a young John Amos.
Dude, I would pay money to see that. John Amos is MJ in the snake trap.
Yeah, that's it.
I love that, man.
Mr. Steal Your Girls immediately. It's over.
He's Wicked's Wicked Reptile said DJ Khaled, duh. Okay, now I gotta ask this, man. So a lot of my favorite, heavy hitters in the game. Shout out to your homie Matt Summers. A lot of the good dude right there. A lot of people in the game have some incredible slogans, and we'll talk about some of them. Ozzy Boys, he has "Shut Up and Breathe." Gazzy, quality shines through. Kabelka, not even Kabelka, Canova. Can't even say Kabelka no more.
Canova, right?
Canova. The snake, his motto, the snakes of tomorrow today. I was like, that's a hard damn, slogan. So I gotta ask you, man, what's the snake trap slogan?
Trapping is a sport. Straight up.
I fuck with that. I love that.
Yeah.
I'm trying to pick between, I like iron sharpens iron, or it's not about perfection, it's about progression.
Right.
I love that. Now, man, you've had some amazing breeders on your show, and I want to talk about you. What are you breeding right now? What's some of the stuff you got your hands in?
Oh man, as far as like something I could confidently say that I'm breeding and I'm successfully getting what I want out of it is definitely the ball pythons. I definitely have chondros paired up right now. At some point I will be, I have boas actually locking up. So this year is actually, I could say, going to be my true test on, how I do with these other species of snakes. I've dabbled in chondros the last 2 years with the ball pythons, but like not at the capacity of the ball pythons. Like, ball pythons, each year I'm getting bigger clutches, like more clutches and more clutches. Right. And like this year I didn't get no clutches, but that's fine. That's just I didn't breed too many chondros. I bred only one. So, I don't know. This year is, like I said, I have a super dwarf project that's already in works right now. I'm getting locks on that. I have boas that I've been waiting 3 years to get locks on, or starting to get locks. So that's fucking awesome. Like I said, the green tree pythons, I'm questioning myself about breeding the northern emerald tree boas. I have a girl who's just about to turn 5. And I was talking to Marshall, and Marshall has like a good rule of thumb with his breeding his females. He doesn't breed anything that's under 5. So just to be safe, I think I want to wait maybe 1 more year just to ensure, because like, I don't know, man, emeralds, they go through a lot when they breed, you know what I mean? So I'm in no rush for those kind of projects. That's more of a passion project. When it happens, it happens. So, these aren't, when we're talking about emeralds and green trees, we're not talking about pythons, man. There's so many things that could just go wrong. You know what I mean? So, I don't know. I could say right now confidently, the ball pythons is something I will breed every year. And hopefully the boas turn out to be okay. I just don't have no experience. I don't have a litter. I've never dropped a boa litter. And I could tell you that's one thing I'm really looking forward to seeing. You go from hatching an egg and having an egg pip to these things being alive, and they just come on out. So, or they come out slugs. Who knows? We'll find out sooner or later. If I could get that far, we'll see day by day.
Right. Now, with you, putting your hand in breeding, I feel like you're a heavy hitter. You are. I want to know, with you breeding, what's some of your biggest accomplishments? Just some of the goals that you have just crushed when it comes to breeding.
I could say my biggest accomplishment is, the fact that I've only was able to hatch 2 chondro eggs out of 28 eggs, meaning 2 different clutches. And that didn't stop me. That could really, really break people's fucking spirit when they put so money into chondros and they really think a chondro clutch is going to, make it so far. And really you go from 14 eggs to 7 eggs to 2 eggs to just one little fucking snake making it, and not even those snake making it. Like, I don't know. Like, I feel like I really learned to put my emotions on the shelf when it comes to not getting results in anything. I don't know. dude, ball pythons, man, they make my life so good. I love my ball pythons. I'm getting killer odds this year. But I could really say, like, what really I'm proud of as a breeder is the fact that I was able to produce at least 2 chondros out of an egg. And, yeah, even though I didn't successfully get to where I wanted to get with those 2, it still drove me to want to be where I'm at today. Like, it didn't stop me, basically. So I'm proud of pushing through the dark days, I guess you could say, because the dark days are still yet to come, but I'm ready for it.
I love that answer. Now, with you, we love that you're breeding. So I got to give you a hot seat question. A lot of breeders have, they have this project going on, that project going on. Now, we love your lady, Lily, right? That's her name, is Lily.
Yeah,
right?
Lily. Yep.
That's your wife, right?
That's my wife. Yep.
Okay. Now, so thank you for telling me that. Now, I got to give you a hot seat question. Have you ever? This might get you in trouble.
Oh,
have
shit.
you ever lied to your wife about the cost of a snake?
Oh,
you're like, baby, this is $400, but I need it for a project, but it's really $1,000.
I even tell her I've lied to her. She knows damn well I've lied like a motherfucker, just because there's some, if it's not money that's needed from her, like she don't need to know the price. Like if this ain't something you're investing on, like if this ain't coming from your side of the bank, you know what I mean? You don't really need to know a price unless there's situational things. Like right now I'm buying a house and shit. I do run everything through my wife right now through this particular time, because we're in a fucking tough spot right now. We're competing for houses, and motherfuckers just got money out here, like stupid money. And I like I said, I don't have AEP. I don't have AEP money yet. I'm trying to get there, but I'm competing with motherfuckers who have AEP money that are just buying out houses out here. So right now I'm being very smart about my money. At the end of the day, I don't really need anything. I'm pretty I look at all my projects and I'm pretty content on what I have, but could I use more stuff? Of course I could. There's so much fucking shit out there. But at the end of the day, I will say there was a point in time where the me getting stuff in, I never told the wife, hey, I just dropped this much on a snake. I didn't, just because, I was building stuff at that point. And she really wasn't like checking every fucking, I think every now and then she'd ask a price, and I would definitely not even like get close to what I really paid. I'll be straight up. Yeah. 100%. Cause especially back then, I don't think she would have understood, I don't think she would have she gets it now. Like, trust me, now she gets it. But 3 years ago, bro, especially cause I was broke 3 years ago. Like, I did whatever I could to get these snakes and stretch myself out. Like, my whole life was different, bro. Like, you gotta understand, like, I was changing my whole life, and these snakes got me to change for the good, and that's it. No, my wife ain't complaining now. I'll tell you that much.
I love that, man. You're killing it, man. Now I got to talk about the AEP hookup, man. So how did you and AEP get linked up, man? Talk about that relationship.
Okay, so I when I was following, so when I first got into this game, I was following a lot of people that weren't from California. Like, I was following a lot of, Justin Gabelka, Ozzy Boyd, Chris Surstream from Ball Pythons 101. I had all these people I looked up to that were nowhere near me. And then I found Miguel, and I instantly, like, when I saw like how what his energy was and how funny he was, I was like, dude, this guy, like, I could tell this guy, like, I could get along with this guy. There's something about it, and I think I started he started putting his stories out there more. Like, I met AEP like right at that pinnacle point where he was like literally started putting himself on stories almost every day. He was started putting himself out there more. But as he was doing that, he was getting so much fucking hate. He was getting called, like, oh, this fool's coming in with money. He's not going to last. Like, dude, he took a lot of hate from me. Like, people he thought who was supporting him were really bashing him on the low. And, I always stood up for him. And like, I always truly, truly believed in him. And he respected that. And we linked up one time. I drove up to LA and we went out to dinner and Mastro's in Beverly Hills. And he showed me the time of my life, bro. Like, and nobody's really done that for me. Like, I come from San Diego, and honestly, bro, we're the land of the scandalous down here, bro. Like, people just are scandalous down here. They're hustlers. And I'm used to just always having to look over my back, friends doing shady shit to me. Like, I'm just used to that come up. You know what I mean? That's plain and simple. So Miguel was the first one who didn't you know, he didn't have to do shit for me, and he fucking really put me on. Like and honestly, he sparked the fire you see today. You got to understand, I had people in my head trying to tell me the things I was doing wasn't good. You know, oh, what are you doing on your podcast? Why are you smoking? Like all sorts of shit that was like, oh man, is this going to be bad for me? And Miguel was one of the biggest push who said, bro, you are fucking made for this shit. Like he's like, I'm telling you right now, you need to just keep going. And that's all I needed to hear, you know. And then, you know, I have Socrates telling me this. I have Marshall Mendez telling me this. And that's all I need to hear, bro. Like all this other outside hate shit, I really don't pay attention to it no more. I kind of just keep myself focused on my mentors telling me to keep going and whatnot. And so, yeah.
Right. AEP is a good guy. He's came on my podcast and he did some amazing stuff for me. You know, for me being a smaller channel, for him to share me out and send me a free snake, that's huge.
Because you know why he does that is because he likes to see your excitement for it. He knows you really genuinely like appreciate what he does. And thing with Miguel, he does a lot for a lot of people, bro. This motherfucker has always done a lot for a lot of people. He's always been that generous guy. But at the end of the day, you know, not everyone appreciates it. You know what I mean? So Miguel's not an idiot. He knows the people who appreciate what he does for not only like you, but like for the entire hobby, bro. Like this guy literally, all he does is inspire every day. You know what I mean? And it's just the hobby needs more people like Miguel for sure. 100%.
Right. I couldn't believe it. Like I said, when he sent me that free snake, I'm like I couldn't even sleep. I'm like, I'm getting a freaking AEP snake. He's like, yeah, I gotta send you a snake, man. I'm like, just do it. Let's do it. So definitely a good guy. Can't say anything bad about him. Now, can you give us a sneak peek, you know, or you got to keep it under wraps? Who are going to be some of your future guests?
Future guests? Oh man, you're really asking for a lot right there.
Okay, hey, no, we ain't gonna talk about it.
Honestly, bro. Like I can't really tell. Like, you know, I have a secret. I do have a secret guest I'm bringing at the very last of the year. Like my I guess New Year's guest, right? My New Year's guest is going to be pretty heavy, just because I think no one's going to expect it. He's another big personality on another platform, and I don't want to tell you anything else, but I think us being connected, I think it's going to really fucking make a huge blowout on the podcast platform. So I'm looking forward to that one. I can't tell you too much, man. But I mean,
that's cool. I'll take that.
Yeah.
Now, do you see yourself kind of ever getting into the venomous part of the hobby?
No, not at all, man. Okay. So, you know, venomous aren't really, you know, you can't really have venomous in California. You could have native venomous, but you can't have cobras. You can't have like the exotic venomous, right? So with that being said, you know, I had at one point for the first couple years of, you know, collecting ball pythons and getting into the game, I had a speckled rattlesnake, a beautiful Pacific Southwestern rattlesnake, speckled rattlesnake. And, you know, I got this thing as a baby in a Coca-Cola bottle because my buddy, it was a crazy story. My buddy was like, hey man, I'm getting a divorce. My wife's going to fucking threaten me to take me to court if I keep this rattlesnake. And he brings it to me and I'm like, what the fuck am I going to do with it? But I was like, holy shit, a rattlesnake. Like I got so like fascinated, and it took me about a month and a half to get it to eat. But once I did, man, that thing got thriving. It got amazing, but I had a problem, man. And I just could not keep my hands off of it. I could not stop handling it. It was very docile, which was another problem. Like never rattled at me. You know, it did rattle at night. I knew when not to mess with it, but like I always loved fucking with it. And my wife hated it. Lily fucking dude, I told Lily, okay, I'm not gonna do it anymore. And she would walk in literally in hand, catch me with this rattlesnake. And, you know, it gave her nightmares, you know? So I kind of ruined it for myself. And after seeing what Tyler Nolan did to himself, and I've heard, you know, other homies get bit, and I just felt like I'm almost destined to get bit if I keep this rattlesnake doing what I'm doing. And you know, I just didn't. Hots just don't belong with me, man. I just don't know how to keep my hands off of them, and I think that's for a lot of people too. And people just don't care. So, you know, I just, as much as I love the fucking venomous, man, like trust me, I love venomous. Because nothing gets your heart racing like fucking working with the venomous. You know, I have rear fang, I have false water cobras, I have boegas and whatnot, but when we're talking about those front fang motherfuckers, man, it's another ball game, bro. And I could never tell you the rush, like the kind of feeling, I used to party, I've done drugs and shit, but nothing compared to like holding a rattlesnake. Like I can't tell you the feeling. It was the best feeling in the world. The scales, knowing that it could just tag you and just put you out, and but you're like still holding it like an idiot. I don't know, man, but yeah, unfortunately, not for me, dude. Even if I move to a state where I could keep them, I won't keep them. I don't trust myself.
Right. Now I gotta ask, man, because you have an eye for picking out just keen talent, some of the best in the business. Give me your take. Who are some of the rookies that are just slept on in our hobby?
Ooh, man. I don't know about slept on. I mean, there are some people out there who just don't put themselves out there, and they should more. But I feel like once they do, they kind of get noticed, because people notice people pretty quick. If you're putting yourself out there, especially posting shit, you can get noticed pretty quick. But I think the ones that are really getting slept on, let's see. Well, Golden Boy for sure. Golden Boy, I think, is getting slept on, but that's just a matter of time. Do you know who Golden Boy is?
I've actually heard of him.
Yeah, he's on another level with his clown highways and his clown super gravels and all sorts of shit. So he's definitely moving along with that. But man, let me think. I'm trying to think.
That's a good question, huh?
Yeah.
Give me 1 second.
Let's talk.
There was vacuuming in there. My bad, bro.
No, you're good. But yeah, I mean, oh man, I'm kind of brain farting because there are motherfuckers who are slept on. Oh, dude, Dave Levine, Natural State Exotics, 100% slept on for sure. But
I've seen that podcast you did with him.
He's hard for sure. Dave right there is working with heat. I could tell you, I don't know. None of my Canadian players are slept on. Fuck, Canada's on the map. I feel like Canada's blowing up. UK pretty much is on another level too. They're blowing up. But I mean, I don't know, man. I'm trying to think who. I mean, I could definitely tell you there's people on my Patreon page that are being slept on right now. Shouts out homie Sybil Serpents, my homie Jacob. You should follow him. He's being slept on. If you want to, I mean, no one's really being
here. I follow him. He's in here.
That's right here. Go follow my boy right there, Sybil Serpents, because this motherfucker is working with heat. Matt Summers is being slept on for sure. Go follow my man, Matt Summers. 1776, right there, my boy. 1776 Exotics, hella slept on. Martin Morris, hella slept on. Father, son, reptiles, hella slept on. There's people in the comments that are hella slept on. I can tell you that right now.
Right.
But that's just all due time. You know what I mean? People like yourself, people like myself will have these people on the show. And I feel like the people I'm calling out are the ones that are here to stay. You know what I mean? Like, you got a lot of people who bring that energy who won't have this energy 3-4 years down the road. You won't see them post much. You got to understand, I've cleaned house sometimes on my followers, and there's people who I haven't talked to in like 2-3 years. I'm like, are they even posting anything? So it's like you have people who have energy who want to do shit, but then they just fall off. The people I just mentioned are not falling off. They're here to stay. So definitely go follow those people for sure.
Right now, I gotta ask, man. I've seen you on the Snake Bites TV channel, man. How did that happen, man?
Oh man, I don't even know, to be honest. I was scared to do that. Shit. I mean, I already know I'm putting myself under a spotlight doing this, but it's my own spotlight, but then going under a fucking channel with almost 900,000 subscribers and doing something completely different that Brian wanted to do. It was definitely risky, but I couldn't say no to an opportunity like that. Right. So I was like, if Brian's asking me to do something, and that's like my boy, man. So I'm just like, I'm not going to say no to it. And we tried it out. It went good. He wants to, so we're going to be picking that back up. We haven't had a plug out in like about 3-4 weeks, basically ever since I got hurt. When I got this monitor bite, I missed a couple weeks doing it. And the thing with YouTube and thing with Brian, if he's going to put out something, it has to be consistent. Like, you cannot go from putting shit out every week to like every other week. Like, the algorithm doesn't work like that. It fucks up your channel by doing that. So what Brian wants to do right now is put out a lot of shorts. He's going to putting out a lot of like his Reptarium shorts to kind of pick up the rhythm. And then in about a month or so, I'll go back to dropping some plug type news clips like I was doing before. But yeah, man, that was all Barczyk's idea. When I went to go fly out to go see him earlier in the spring, he had that idea. We talked about it over dinner, and he said I thought I'd be great to do it, and I like fuck, I don't know, I just said yeah, man. So that's how that happened.
Right, man. Well, you're definitely crushing it, man. Now, I want to talk about, the chondros, man. You have some amazing chondros, and I want you to give some advice for somebody that's wanting to get in the chondro game. What do you think the best advice is for somebody that's wanting to do what you're doing with the chondros?
Well, I mean, you can only research so much, right? And I feel like over research will really fuck with your head. I mean, I'm telling you right now, if you want to get into chondros, see if you could raise a baby chondro. Get a baby chondro. Get a chondro from a show. Roll the dice. Who gives a fuck? See what happens. What I don't really understand are people who don't even know if they're made for chondros. And when I say that is people who work with ball pythons don't really understand how fucking strong ball pythons are built. They could go through a lot and still give you eggs and still be a snake that's healthy. Fluctuation temps, all sorts of shit. Ball pythons could go through that. Chondros, especially something that you're trying to get dialed in, can't deal with inconsistent anything. They just need something consistent and something straightforward. But so many things could go wrong either way. So that's why I almost feel like, I don't always say go the import route or go the Indonesia farm raised route. But at the end of the day, if you just want to see if you're made for establishing a neonate, maybe carefully, like when I say carefully, ask questions. Is this chondro eating? Is it shedding? Really look at it good. And if you feel like this thing looks solid, take that thing home, put it in a fucking tub with paper towel and a water dish, feed it after a couple days. If it eats, if it shits and it sheds everything like clockwork, well, then you have a healthy chondro. Congratulations, you did it. You could now move to the next stage. That's the way I look at it, plain and simple. You have people who are trying to shop around looking for adults. They want to hurry up and get into the breeding stage, which to me, I mean, you could go ahead and do that, but I mean, I don't know. I don't recommend that. Yeah, give me 1 second. Hold on 1 second, okay?
Take your time.
1 second. My poor neighbor.
Take your time.
Delilah, you need to stop.
Shout out to everybody in the chat, man. I appreciate y'all for coming, man. I love that we got MJ here, man, just picking his brain, having a little bit of fun. It's been an amazing podcast. Thank you, everybody in the chat.
Yeah, shout out to everyone in the chat. So, man, it means a lot. That's shout out to everyone in the building. But yeah, man, chondros. Yeah. Chondros. Just keep it simple. I just posted something on one of my vlogs, and it's just the simplicity of keeping chondros and and even when you think you're doing things simple, sometimes you overthink. I mean, it's just, you just got to fucking roll the dice, man, and find out if you're meant for it or not. Simple as that.
Right. I love what you're doing with your channel. You were doing just straight podcast, and now you've kind of switched it up. You're doing some more informational videos. What I'm doing with this, what I'm doing with that. You're mixing it up a little bit. I love that you're giving us some of your knowledge. So I got to ask, are you self-taught with a lot of the stuff, or do you feel like you had a mentor?
I've definitely always had a mentor, man, for sure. 100%. I can't say I'm self-taught in any of this because I asked a lot of questions. There were things that I had to learn hands-on, like having chondros die on me that either came in messed up and, I didn't know if it was me doing something wrong. I did learn a lot of hard lessons on my own, being hard-headed. You got to understand, I preach about being simple. I wasn't simple sometimes. I fucking overdid things. I mean, I killed my first neonate by just giving it way too hot of a spot. Like, I mean, I learned the hard lessons myself. You know what I mean? I'm definitely the hard lessons I'm self-taught 100%. I even had people telling me, like Andrew Acevedo, shout out to my boy Andrew Acevedo, one of my biggest mentors on all levels, monitors, snakes, fucking grasshopper breeding. That's my boy right there, Andrew Acevedo. I'm so sorry for not saying that he was probably one of the biggest slept individuals in the hobby. Andrew Acevedo is slept on all levels. Shout out to my boy Andrew. But yes, wait, what were we talking before that? I'm so sorry.
No, you're fine. I said I wanted to know. You have so much knowledge. Did you?
Yeah, mentor. Yeah, yes. Okay, so let me give you a clear example. What kind of mentorships people? Andrew and Forrest were like the same kind of mentor to me. And the way they were mentors is expectations of death, things that that I was about to go through, and they knew it, and they gave me the heads up on it. Sure enough, I went through all that shit that they gave me heads up on. And because of them, I was able to at least, no one's really prepared for a snake to die. But at the end of the day, it's going to happen. They're animals. There's nothing you could do about it, especially when you're working with imports. You know what I mean? I didn't have a bunch of ball pythons dying. I had my first hatchling ball python die this year, which it's a hatchling, that I understand that, but I've never had an adult or a sub-adult or anything I've bought and die ball python wise. Okay? And you got to understand, ball python breeders have a really soft heart because they don't deal with a lot of death. They deal with hatching death, but they don't deal with a lot of females just dying after fucking giving a clutch. Like, it's crazy the kind of heartbreak a chondro will teach you. And you're either going to run away or you're going to fucking suck it up. You're going to learn how to deal with the emotions, and you're going to learn how to just push forward and just not blame yourself because, I mean, there's nothing you can do. It's nature.
Right. Now, I want to talk about what you got going on over there, man, because I love it. I'm jealous. I wish I didn't live in an apartment. And when I say that, I'm talking about all the animals. Tia, Tamara, I hope they get to go with you to the new house. But man, you freaking have alpacas, chickens, roosters, snakes, monitors. What's going on over there? How does that feel, almost having your own personal zoo?
I mean, it's work, bro. At the end of the day, my wife, God bless her, like, she doesn't touch any of the chickens. She doesn't touch any of the alpacas, but she will if I'm gone. Like, she comes through when I'm not here. But, other than that, it's me doing 98% of the work. And I mean, at the end of the day, it's routine. I'm somebody who wakes up so early. So, like, the first thing I do is attend to the chickens and alpacas because, I don't want to mess with the snakes first thing in the morning. You know what I mean? Like, I want to, like, at least a little bit later on in the day while it warms up. That's when I'll start doing some water changes, and I'll start, messing with things. I don't even turn the monitor lights on until about 9 a.m. So, a lot of my editing, a lot of my, stuff that I'm preparing for the podcast, all the chickens, all the alpacas, that's done at like 4 or 5 a.m., like early in the morning. So, I make it happen just because I do all the chores, man. Like, it's a part, I want it that bad where I don't give a shit. I don't mind waking up in the morning and, picking up alpaca hay from them every 2 weeks. It's just, I've always loved animals, bro. Like, this is something I always dreamed about having, and I want more. Trust me, this ain't shit. So I pray to God I could get bigger yards because I want emus. I want fucking, peacocks everywhere. I want to go wild with this shit someday. I really do.
I'm jealous, man. You living a life I want, and I tell my wife this all the time, and she laughs at me because I used to be a big video game, big avid video gamer. I was gaming every night. But when I jumped into the reptile hobby, I'm like, oh, forget that PlayStation. I want to be in the reptile room. I want to be around my animals. It's just certain shit that when I got into the reptile hobby, I was like, I don't want to do that. Gaming, I don't want to do that no more. It's like, have you lost any other hobbies when it comes to your animals? Have you just like, oh shit, this is what I want to do. I don't want to play the PlayStation no more.
Yeah, I mean, dude, like, okay, I was fishing for a new life so bad when I first met Lily. Me and Lily met in 2015. Oh fuck. 2016. So me and Lily met in 2016, and she was so wholesome and pure, and I'm just not used to that. I'm used to just fucking, excuse my language, but whores, straight fucking just girls who cheat on you. Like, that's just what I'm used to. And Lily was none of that. So, but she's none of that because she ain't a party. She doesn't go out and fucking club and do all that fucking shit that I'm dating, girls that do that. So anyways, I met Lily and I was kind of hit a crossroad, what do I do? Do I keep fucking partying, selling drugs and try to keep this girl who don't do none of this shit and hope she stays with me? Or do I say, fuck all this shit that's been ruining my life and making me depressed for the last fucking 15 plus years? And do I finally go a route that's what I've been wanting? I'm a family guy, bro. Like, I had a great childhood. I had great family, loved my whole life. I've always been loved. You know what I mean? So I want that someday. Like, I hope someday I can have my own children with my wife and whatnot, but that would have never happened if I was keep doing, I love the music, bro. I DJ'd for a long time and I chased that dream, but I had no control with the partying and the drugs. That's what kind of fucked up the music side. So really, I really wasn't that passionate about music if I let the drugs take over. But I did know that this drug shit and the music shit did not go with the animals. And I'm telling you this because I was getting to a level where you know, I was having to do chores almost all the time with the snakes, but I was still trying to go out and fuck around. And I just remember being hungover, not wanting to be in my snake room at all. Like I wanted nothing to do with the animals when you're hungover. That's just what I was going through. And that really made me sad that I could feel so like when I'm not hungover, I could feel like, oh my God, I'm in the best place ever. But then just because I fucking didn't sleep or I feel fucking like shit, I don't want nothing to do with the animals. Like I'm willing to neglect the animals because I feel like shit. Oh, hell no. So when I felt that moment where I was like, damn, this shit's ruining my shit with the animals, I said, fuck the partying, fuck the music. I canceled all my gigs. I stopped DJing and all sorts of shit. You know, I canceled my friends, the homies I was partying with, dealing with, all that, man. I literally just cut the corner. But when I did that, my whole life changed drastically. I had problems getting money because all my money came from the drug game, man. Like, you know, I wasn't really holding up jobs because it was, you know, I was making money off the drugs. You know what I mean? Partying. That's where all my money came from. And it was lucrative. It just came like nothing, you know? So, but Lily did not want none of that shit. So I had to choose. So I fucking became broke as fuck, but started putting all my money into snakes. And then that shit built into what you see today. And that's just how it worked, bro. It's fucking crazy. God is good.
Right. Women will do that for you, man.
Women
Now
will do that,
I gotta
bro.
talk because I like to keep people, you know, about 45 minutes to an hour. So I got a few more questions.
Sure.
I want to ask, man, you know, I had Potter on the other day, and
Right.
you know, I know you've been to multiple, you know, Tim Lee's NARBC events, but he said he's doing something new. At some of his future events, he wants to have a interview room set up for all of the podcasters to do on-site interviews. How exciting is that? Do you see yourself doing a lot of on-site stuff when he does set that room up?
I'm definitely down, man. Like I did do on-site podcast interviews at Schaumburg, which was cool. And it's just a lot, you know. I mean, even if you have something scheduled with breeders, you gotta understand they're at their tables, they're selling. So it was kind of chaotic. It was definitely no chill at all that day because I was grabbing people when I can, but it was fun at the same time. I definitely could see myself doing it. I do see myself at some point. I mean, don't you know, quote me on this too soon, but I do see myself vending at one point and, you know, having, you know, kind of what Cusco does. If it's somebody who's always inspired me with the whole podcast shit and YouTube is definitely Brian Cusco. So shout out to Brian Cusco for definitely inspiring me. He's definitely somebody who, like, when I found out he fucked with me and I went to his place, I stayed with his place and literally, you know, broke bread at his fucking table with his family. And doing that really was awesome. Like, you know, I don't know, like Brian's been a huge inspiration for me, but yeah, man. I mean, the interview things are definitely, you know, you understand the shows, that's what really brings everything we do come together is when we finally meet face to face and we could just do everything we've been doing over the phone, finally in person, collab, which helps ourselves grow. You understand when people see us linking up at shows, it creates more views. Like it's popping, you know what I mean? And people want to be a part of that. So I think that's awesome, man. And fucking, you know, I don't know if you heard, but I'm probably going to be DJing at the next Tinley. Be ready for that because I'm about to blow that shit off the fucking. Shit's about to go through the roof, bro. Ain't nobody ready for me to DJ.
I seen you say that when Potter was on your show. You was like, I got
He's
an
down.
idea. You know, let me tell you, I should do X, Y, Z. And I was like, I like that. That's a good idea.
Bro, there's a whole party that goes down at the bar, like literally right next to the auction. And you gotta understand, there's probably like fucking 50 to 60 people just crammed into this bar, just having the time of their life. So just why not add music to it? Like, why not fucking just make this shit, you know, keep the announcements going, keep auctions going throughout the night. Like, you can do whatever you want that way. You know what I mean? Sky's the limit.
Right. Now, I want you to give some advice, man. I only got a few more questions, but you know, even for me, I want to follow in your footsteps, man. I feel like you're crushing it. So give me some podcast advice, or anybody that's wanting to start a podcast. What's some advice you can give them? Some tips you can give them, whether it's just being consistent. What's your best tips for somebody wanting to do what you do?
I think you just need to follow your own steps. Like, you need to figure out, like, because and listen, I'm not the first person to develop a podcast. Podcasts have been out, right? But I've always followed my own steps on how I want to do things, and I feel like you're doing that, and that's why you're getting guests that I haven't brought on. Like, you're literally creating your own path, Derek. So I feel like you should just keep being consistent, but other than being consistent, keep asking the questions that Derek asked. You're obviously different from any other podcaster doing their thing, and that's why people are coming on to your show. So I feel like whatever it is that you're doing, you need to just keep doing it. Even if you feel like you're not getting the results that you once get, you got to understand shit goes up and down all the fucking time. You know, you got people who love you one day, you got people who unsubscribe the next day. It's weird. It's a weird world out there. Don't get me, but you got to not let that affect you. And you just got to understand that what you're doing at the end of the day, somebody out there is really inspired. Somebody out there is watching your shit a lot. And I never knew how much people were watching me until I was going to shows and they're telling me, dude, my whole workday I listen to you. Like, you know what I mean? And you understand, it's not easy. Some people have some really fucked up jobs. And if I can make their life easier at their job and literally get them through their day, dude, that's amazing. I mean, if I could do that, if I'm doing that, God bless. That's awesome. I mean, fuck yeah, I'm going to keep doing it. You know what I mean? So like I said, there's no matter how many people shout you out one day compared to the next, there's somebody out there that you're inspiring. So just keep inspiring.
I love that. I love that. Now, I got to ask you, man. So, how does one get invited to the Trap Barbecue?
Patreon members strictly. You got to be a Patreon member. It's straight family. But I do have celebrity appearance. I could definitely see you flying in as a celebrity appearance. Definitely have you maybe have you on that list. I don't see that being a problem. But for the most part, the other attendees, if you're not a part of that celebrity guest list, everyone else who appears is part of the Trap family. I don't fuck with weirdos. I got to make sure I know you. I want to be able to keep you I should be able to leave you in the trap and I can walk away and not worry about nothing. And that's hard to do with a lot of people. So no disrespect, man. My Patreon motherfuckers, man, we're tight. We're like this, you know, and I, you know, I had a great time at the barbecue, man. I wasn't even in my rooms, bro. Like, you don't understand. My rooms were packed. Like, the podcast room was packed. The trap was packed, and I was just in the backyard chopping it up with everyone, having a good time, not even worried about shit. Even though Garrett Hartle's bleeding in my podcast room, getting bit by scrub pythons, it was wild, man. But yeah, I could definitely see you flying out to the next one, or you're definitely invited for sure all day.
I appreciate that, man. I appreciate it. So, last question, man. I gotta ask, man. I feel like you're crushing it. You know, I feel like you're going to get the YouTube play button. So, when you do get that YouTube play button, man, where is it going?
Oh, man, it's going to go right here, right by Mac Dre. Keminetti will have to go somewhere else. Or actually, no, my bad. Right here. Right. I would have to probably move Tony Gwynn. But that Mac play, man, this guy right here taught me how to play, bro. I'm only a player because how much I've listened to Mac Dre. And I'm very player. I'm confident to say that, bro. Not many people go out player me. That's all because of Mac Dre. So I would put the play button because how player Mac Dre made me right underneath him. That's a good idea, huh? Right there.
I love that. I love that, man. Now, where else can we check you out? I know you're on YouTube. Where else is your podcast at?
So Spotify, I'm on all the podcasting platforms. And I do want to say, man, I mean, as much as I get love on YouTube, dude, I'm getting record-breaking fucking listens on Apple Podcasts, Buzzsprout, and I do want to say anyone who listens to me off of YouTube, thank you so much. Just rate and review. That's all I need, man. If you guys could just rate and review anytime you listen on any of the podcasting platforms would mean a lot to me. But yeah, man, I'm on every single I'm on every single podcasting platform out there, audio-wise. I'm on Twitch as well. And, you know, I go live on Facebook as well. So every time I go live, I'm live on Facebook, Twitch, and YouTube. But yeah, and then like I said, audio-wise, I'm on every single major podcasting platform.
Oh, man. Well, I appreciate that. It was an amazing talk, man. I'm just honored that you're here. You're definitely crushing shit, man. I'm going to still watch you show up in your chats because what you do is inspiring. So I just thank you for coming on here, man. I really appreciate you.
I appreciate you, man, and thanks for having me on. I fuck with you tough, bro, and just keep doing what you're doing, Derek. I'm saying, man, it's people like us are the reason why we are fucking feeding this hobby that's growing by the day. So that's it. It's just
I love that, man. All right,
keep rocking it, bro.
Everybody said we're crushing it. Matt Summers, good job. All right, I'm gonna let you go ahead and go. You have an amazing night, sir. Thank you again, sir.
All right, guys, have a good night. Late.
Thank you. How awesome was that, man? Big Reptile Talk with the Snake Trap, Mr. MJ himself. Super honored to have him here, man, because, you know, he inspires me to bring people on and talk to them. He's definitely crushing it. So make sure you go subscribe to the Snake Trap. Just an amazing interview. Shout out to everybody in the chat. I appreciate you for showing up. before we leave, man, make sure you go check out Iron Dog, My Animal House, Venom Wonderful, Ball Python Love, everybody in the chat, Father Sons Reptiles. Check out D's Balls, Matt Summers Reptiles, Gary, everybody in the chat. Go make sure you subscribe to them because we're all trying to grow. This has been another episode. Until the next one, we out of here. Thank you, man.
You don't start things and not finish them. You don't quit. There's nothing that comes out of quitting besides knowing that you didn't finish. We finish everything. You start it, finish it. If you're going to do it to try to be the best. Not to be better than other people, but to be the best for you. You grind hard so you can play hard. The work you put in will pay off. It could be a year, it could be 30 years, but you keep grinding. Welcome to Big Reptile Talk.